morning. Thank you for joining me in our daily focus and sharing what I think is a commonly misunderstood passage of Scripture. And I'm going to do my best to unpack it for us today in Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 to 42. And you have to remember that when we read this, that there is a foundational principle that Jesus establishes early on in the chapter. I'm trying to think where it says it. Verse number 17, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So there's the foundational principle. God is not saying that he is coming to destroy the law. He's coming to fulfill a greater aspect, a deeper reality of what the law was intended to do. And so we have to interpret these verses in light of that context. And so verse 38 says, "You have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if a man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away." So the question that I've asked, does God promote being a pacifist? And I can unequivocally say, absolutely not. That is not something God promotes at all. And you can understand that many illustrations throughout Scripture, God says there's a just recompense of reward for evil doing. Even God warns us that there is a just recompense that is going to be given to those who reject his love gift of salvation. For those who choose evil over good, there is a payment. And so God is not a pacifist. He is a God of order. He is a God of law and a God of laws. And so what he is saying in the text is that I have come not to abolish or destroy the law, but to fulfill it. There's a greater sense of what I want you to learn as you go through this. So he has said, here's the law, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's the law. And I am not coming to abolish or destroy the law, but I am coming to fulfill it. And so he's going to give us three illustrations. The first one is, if somebody slaps you on the face, turn the other cheek. If somebody takes you to court and wants your coat, give him your night blanket, that which will keep you warm at night also. And if somebody demands that you do something, the Greco-Roman idea was that they could demand that you do some type of exercise, some type of demand. Maybe the best illustration would be Simon of Cyrene. When the soldiers compelled him to carry Jesus's cross, he had no option, right? And so that's kind of the context, is that if somebody says, go with me a mile, go with him twain. And if somebody is asking you something, give it to him. We certainly are not promoting, and God is not promoting the enablement of people to do wrong. And so we have to approach this from the premise, the foundation that God has already established, and that is the law has a purpose. And the law is to punish evil and to reward good. So if somebody takes your eye, then the law is going to take theirs. If somebody takes your tooth, then the law is going to take theirs. If somebody takes your life, the law is going to take theirs. And so I am not coming to abolish that. I'm coming to fulfill it. I'm going to give you a deeper understanding. And so he is simply saying, what is going on in your heart? When somebody slaps you and you do not deserve it, what goes on in your heart? Because we know what our flesh wants to do, right? Our flesh wants, you know, give it right back, right? We know, and some would say, well, that's what they deserve, and that may be true too, right? But let's be very careful, because as born again believers, we know what we deserve, right? But God has demonstrated grace, right? We know that we offend God on a daily basis, and we know that God would have every right to snuff our life out. Um, so it's not on the guilty, not guilty issue here. The law will take care of that. God is saying, what's going on in your heart? You see, I think the best illustration that I can think of is parenting. If you want to punish your kid because you're ticked off at your kid, because your kid didn't listen, your kid disobeyed, your kid embarrassed you, your kid, and you can't wait to give them their punishment, something's wrong with you. You are wrong. They were wrong, but now you are wrong. God says that ought not be the heart of a parent. The heart of the parent should be way different than wanting to dish out the punishment. It might be that you have to do it, but you shouldn't want to have to do it. You ought not delight in doing it. And so, really, the contrast is again coming up with, it's not what I have to do on the outward, it's not the work I have to do, it's what is going on in my heart. And if somebody slaps me, does my heart break for them and say, you're just selfish, you're in bondage, you are trapped in a mindset that is going to lead you to a bunch of heartache? Does your heart break for them, for their condition and why they act that way? Would your heart say, I would just like to give you the other side, and just, I don't like the path that you're on. I don't like what your future reality is going to become. My heart breaks for you, right? If somebody takes you to court and takes your coat, you say, you know, this is a bad way to use a system to try to get gain, right? It's like in American culture, suing over anything. The American dream to becoming a multimillionaire, right? Is to get somebody to court. It's to slip and fall in a parking lot so that you can make a bunch of money. That's not the right mindset, right? But the law still holds people accountable. And even though I may need to allow the law to do what it does, I my heart is broke. I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish that you had made better decisions, right? If somebody's wanting to take advantage of your ability to work or your strength or whatever and requiring you to do their work, your heart should say, I'd like to do twice as much for you. It's not that I don't want to serve you. It's not that I don't want to help you, but you're being selfish, right? When somebody asks, it's not that I don't want to give to you. I just may not be able to give to you because of a whole lot of other passages that says I'm not going to enable you. I'm not going to support your addiction. I am not going to finance your bad decision making. I am not going to do that. But my heart is, I wish I could, and that it wouldn't turn out the way that it's going to go. I wish I had liberty to offer you another cheek, to give you my cloak as well, to walk with you an extra mile, to give you your request. My heart is, I wish I could. But the law is there and says, I can't. And so it's still an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. You got to make good decisions. I wish that it wasn't that severe. God is in no way teaching pacifism at all. He is simply addressing our heart. Do we, yes, now I get to slap them back. Yes, now I get to show them how bad it hurt. Yes, now I get to prove to them who's boss. If that's your heart, you're wrong. And God is saying, I didn't save you to have a heart that way. But I also am not promoting that Christians are pacifists and that we just allow the unsaved world to run roughshod over breaking the law, doing wrong, selfish things, and we just let them do it. Now, that's not what he's teaching either. The law is there. The law is there to punish them. And maybe the punishment has to come from me as a parent. Doesn't mean I want to. Doesn't mean I delight in it. It ought to break my heart because of the path that people are on. That's the teaching. I hope it encourages you, helps to straighten up some things. The law is there for a very good reason, and but we should not delight in somebody getting their just recompense of reward any more than us not getting our just recompense of reward and having God's grace. So what a wonderful reminder that Jesus said, "I'm not come to abolish or destroy the law. I've come to fulfill it." I'm teaching you something deeper about it, and it's about a heart attitude. God bless you. I hope you have a great day. I'll look forward